Yet another embarrassment to Pakistan. The UNSC rejects Islamabad's application for listing two Indians under sanctions list. The move was blocked by 5 UNSC members, the US, UK, France, Germany and Belgium. The government blocks 118 mobile applications including popular gaming app PUBG for being prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India. The applications ban for stealing and transmitting users' data in an unauthorized manner to servers outside India. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prasar Bharati says the government has spoken to all the opposition parties in advance for not holding the question hour, and everyone except West Bengal MP Derek O'Brien has agreed to the arrangement. Says the government is not running away from debates and is ready to discuss all the issues. Government announces guidelines for operationalization of the metro train services across the nation. The operations to begin in a phased manner and the frequency of the trains to be limited. Metros to skip the stations in the containment zones and to also ensure proper social distancing. India continues to do well in the fight against COVID-19 as the case fatality rate in the country further improves to 1.76% with a recovery rate of near 77%. India sees over 29 lakh patients being recovered. The global COVID-19 cases crossed 2.6 crore mark with over 8.6 lakh deaths. And in sports news, India's Sumit Nagal to take on world number 3 Dominic Thiem in the second round of the US Open later today. Top seed Karolina Pliskova crashes out of the US Open after a straight set defeat at the hands of a French rival Caroline Garcia. In the men's category, top seed Novak Djokovic cruises to third round. Hello and good morning. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli Mahajan. Our top story: in yet another embarrassment to Pakistan, the UNSC has rejected Islamabad's application for the listing of two Indian individuals as international terrorists under UNSC's resolution 1267. The move was blocked by 5 members of the UNSC, the US, UK, France, Germany and Belgium. Pakistan had proposed the designation of 4 Indian nationals in 2019 under the UN 1267 sanctions list. And of the 4 names, the UNSC had rejected 2 names earlier, and the remaining 2 listing proposals of Angara Appaji and Gobinda Patnaik Dugiwalasa were blocked on Wednesday. And on the development, India's permanent representative to UN, T.S. Tirumurthy, tweeted saying, Pakistan's blatant attempt to politicize 1267 special procedure on terrorism by giving it a religious color has been thwarted by the UNSC. He also thanked all those council members who have blocked Pakistan's designs. And remember, the latest rebuking of Pakistan in the UNSC comes in almost a week's time. Last Wednesday, the UNSC had disowned the Pakistani envoy's controversial statement and said it will not go on record. Let's now go across to our correspondent Abhishek Jha, who's been keeping a track of developments on this front. In fact, big development taking place there as far as exposing Pakistan's nefarious and notorious designs once again, Abhishek, and coming to the fore, it being rejected by the UNSC.
Exactly, Nancy, and this is, as you said, this is just twice in a week's time when Pakistan's propaganda against India has been exposed and totally rejected by United Nations Security Council. The good thing is that India has been successful in garnering support from its friends, like earlier times when after the 4 names, 2 names were cleared last year only, and 2 names were cleared yesterday. Earlier also, France, who is also the permanent member of Security Council, has given a hold and asked Pakistan to come up with more evidences to substantiate its claims against those Indians whom Pakistan has alleged have been actively engaged in terrorist activities and other economical offences against, as per the Pakistani laws, inside Pakistan. But all those allegations were found not true. Pakistan could not provide any evidence to substantiate its claim, and thus finally United Nations Security Council could not list Pakistan's application of putting all these four Indians onto the 1267 sanction list, which would have given some kind of freezing their assets and travel ban restriction to these Indians. So this has been totally rejected, and again Pakistan's lies has been exposed.
Absolutely. Pakistan's lies exposed, and in fact big snap coming in for Pakistan yet again. Thanks very much, Abhishek, for joining us and sharing all those inputs. And moving on now, in a big move, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has blocked 118 mobile applications. The centre said the action was taken in view of the information available that these applications are engaged in activities which is prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India, the defence of India, the security of state and the public order. The blocked applications include the PUBG Mobile Nordic Map, that's Livik, and PUBG Mobile Lite. The decision, remember, was taken after the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology received many complaints about the misuse of some mobile applications available on Android and the iOS platforms for stealing and surreptitiously transmitting users' data in an unauthorized manner to servers which have locations outside India.
India has decided to 118 apps of Chinese origin, primarily to make it very clear to the Chinese that India will remain insistent on demanding a restoration of the status quo ante from China on the border. And if China wants stable relationship with India, a multifaceted relationship with India, then it cannot expect that the trade and economic ties would continue as our soldiers are jostling with each other on the border. Border is today front and center, and unless China decides to go back on and maintain status quo ante, India would also not relent and would take measures across the spectrum.
And let's now go across to our correspondent Arun Sharma, who's joining us with more inputs on that. Arun, yet another crackdown coming in as far as the mobile applications are concerned, and of course once again the safety, security of the Indian cyberspace and users' data being given paramount importance.
Good morning, Nancy. And yes, it was a need of the hour to, for a crackdown on these mobile applications. Now, we have seen this fact, Nancy, that in last 2 months, government has banned more than 200 mobile applications and primarily Chinese mobile applications. Now, in first digital strike, the Electronics and IT Ministry banned 59 Chinese mobile applications that included TikTok as well. And afterwards, 47 clone applications were created. So the government again banned the 47 clone applications, which were the clone of the earlier banned 59 applications. Then gradually our government was also having an eye on these mobile applications that included PUBG, that were, compromising as far as the data of the users are concerned. So now, yesterday, government has banned these primarily 118 mobile applications right from the iOS as well and also from the Play Store. Now, the prime reason was that now government is saying that these mobile applications were into compromising the data of the users. We know this fact that PUBG mobile games, TikTok, these were very much, famous as far as in content. This was a big market for these mobile applications. So these mobile applications were using the data of the users, and they were actually transmitting these data to the foreign soil. That means the servers were not located in India. These data was sent to outside our territory. In many of the cases, it was found that even the Chinese army was accessing these data. When a user was playing games like PUBG or when they were on apps like TikTok, at that time, these mobile applications were also tracking the location of the user that the game was being played. And the user profile was built on these mobile applications, and the data mining was happening at the global level as far as these mobile applications are concerned. So yes, government has taken up a great move by banning these more than 200 mobile applications in the last 2 months, primarily to protect the integrity and sovereignty, and of course protecting the data of 130 crore Indians over here.
Absolutely. Arun, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and putting all those developments into perspective for us. Thanks very much. And moving on now, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prasar Joshi has said the government has spoken in advance to all the opposition parties for not holding the question hour. He said everyone except West Bengal MP Derek O'Brien has agreed to the arrangement. He also said looking at COVID risks, everyone has agreed on cutting short the 0 hour to half an hour.
मैं स्पष्ट रूप से ये कहना चाहता हूं, तृणमूल कांग्रेस के राज्यसभा के नेता डेरिक ओब्रायन के अलावा सब पार्टी के नेता जब हमने बात की, उन्होंने क्वेश्चन आवर डिस्पेंसेशन करने का, सस्पेंड करने के लिए उन्होंने एग्री हुआ है। और कई नेता, वरिष्ठ नेता ये हद तक भी कहा है ये विशिष्ट परिस्थिति है, कितने जल्दी जरूरी कामकाज निकल के आप ये खत्म कर सकते हो वो खत्म करो। ये भी सुझाव हमको अपोजिशन से मिला है।
The Parliamentary Affairs Minister also said the government is ready to reply to unstart questions. He said the government is not running away from debates and will discuss all the issues as decided by the Business Advisory Committee. He sought cooperation from all the parties as the country is going through an unprecedented situation due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
गवर्नमेंट के तरफ से मैं क्रिस्टल क्लियर करना चाहता हूं, कभी भी हमने ये नहीं कहा 0 आवर नहीं रहेंगे, 0 आवर रहेंगे। और हमने तो सुझाव दिया है माननीय स्पीकर और माननीय चेयरमैन साहब को, आधा घंटा करने से ठीक होगा, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली स्पीकर साहब और चेयरमैन साहब इसके ऊपर निर्णय लेंगे। आधा घंटा होगा, 40 मिनट होगा, 1 घंटा होगा, दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय ऑनरेबल स्पीकर एंड ऑनरेबल चेयरमैन राज्यसभा। जो कुछ भी बीएसी में डिसाइड होगा वो सब इशू के चर्चा के करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट तैयार है। और अनस्टार्ड क्वेश्चन के लिए भी सरकार ओपन है। हमने ऑलरेडी माननीय स्पीकर और माननीय चेयरमैन साहब को अनस्टार्ड क्वेश्चन लेने के लिए, उसका जो शेड्यूल वगैरह करने के लिए हमने गवर्नमेंट के तरफ से ऑलरेडी रिक्वेस्ट किया है।
The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved the launching of a national program for civil services capacity building. The Cabinet has approved the Mission Karmayogi, a scheme for bringing post-recruitment reforms in the civil services. The move will help officers and the government employees get an opportunity to improve their performance. The building has been carefully designed to lay the foundations for capacity building for civil servants so that they remain entrenched in the Indian culture and sensibilities and remain connected with their roots while they learn from the best institutions and practices across the world.
भर्ती होने के बाद विभिन्न कर्मचारी अधिकारी उनकी लगातार क्षमतावर्धन कैसे हो, कार्यक्षमता कैसे बढ़े, इसके बारे में और वो प्रभावी कैसे, कारगर कैसे साबित हो, इसके लिए क्षमतावर्धन का एक लगातार कार्यक्रम चलेगा और उसका नाम कर्मयोगी योजना है। तो ये एक बेहद ही महत्वपूर्ण सुधार है और 21वें सदी का सरकार के मानव संसाधन का सुधार का एक बहुत बड़ा ये सुधार कहला जाएगा और लोगों की अपेक्षाओं पर खरे उतरने वाले अधिकारी तैयार करना इसका मूल मकसद है।
The National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building will have the following institutional framework, and those would be Prime Minister's Public Human Resources Council, the Capacity Building Commission, Special Purpose Vehicle for owning and operating the digital assets, and the Technological Platform for online training. Also, Coordination Unit headed by the Cabinet Secretary. The program will be delivered by setting up an integrated government online training, the IGOT Karmayogi platform, and a wholly owned special purpose vehicle for the building will also be set up. The SPV will be a not-for-profit company and will own and manage the Karmayogi platform. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a tweet said, I quote, the Mission Karmayogi, a major bureaucratic reform exercise approved by the Union Cabinet, will radically improve the government's human resource management practices, asserting that the program aims to prepare civil servants for the future. He also said the exercise will use scale and state-of-the-art infrastructure to augment the capacity of the civil servants, unquote. And the Union Cabinet has also approved a bill under which Kashmiri, Dogri and Hindi, apart from the existing Urdu and English, will be the official languages in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu and Kashmir Official Languages Bill 2020 will be introduced in Parliament in the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament. The government has also approved the signing of a pact between India and Japan aimed at improving the quality and the testing of Indian textiles and clothing for the Japanese market. It also approved a memorandum of understanding for cooperation in the field of geology and mineral resources between the Geological Survey of India and the Geological Survey of Finland. Moving on now, the metros across the country will get to see the light of the day from the 7th September. After nearly 6 months, the metro services are to resume in a graded manner. Commuters will be required to strictly adhere to the guidelines, including that of wearing masks and ensuring proper social distancing. The hours of the operation will be staggered. Here's a report.
Metro services will resume in a graded manner from September 7th across the country, and passengers will have to follow preventive measures against COVID-19, such as maintaining social distancing and wearing face masks. Addressing an online media briefing, the Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri on Wednesday said all metro lines will become operational by September 12th.
That whilst we welcome the resumption of metro services, a decision which has been taken after very careful and very deep consideration. The catchword and the buzzword here is caution and care.
SOP guidelines have been prepared by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the broad features are as follows. Metro operations to be resumed in a graded manner. Metros having more than one line should open different lines starting from 7th September in a graded manner. All corridors may become operational by 12th September. In the first stage, Delhi metro services will operate in 2 shifts, 7 to 11 am and 4 to 8 pm. Frequency of trains to be regulated to avoid passenger crowding at stations and in trains. Stations, entry-exit gates in containment zones to be closed. In order to ensure social distancing, suitable markings at stations and inside trains to be done. Wearing of face mask to be mandatory for all passengers and staff. Metro rail corporations to supply masks on payment basis to persons arriving without mask. Only asymptomatic persons to be allowed to travel after thermal screening at entry into the stations. Provision of sanitizers to be made at entry into the stations. Use of smart card and cashless online transactions to be encouraged. Metro rail corporations may also resort to skipping of stations to ensure proper social distancing. Metro rail corporations to keep close liaison with local administration for regulating crowd outside stations.
We are planning to start line number 2. That is from the yellow line from Samanpur Badli to Huda City Center. We will introduce line number 1, that is red line, Ghaziabad to Rithala. So we will open only selected gates.
The metro services were suspended in late March when the government announced a nationwide lockdown to check the spread of the novel coronavirus. In the national capital, the metro services have been suspended since March 22nd. Based on the guidelines, Delhi, Noida, Chennai, Kochi, Bengaluru, Mumbai Line 1, Jaipur, Hyderabad, Nagpur, Kolkata, Gujarat and Lucknow have prepared their SOPs. The government of Maharashtra has decided not to resume operations of metro during September 2020. DD India.
The geography of innovation continues to shift. The Global Innovation Index 2020 has shown, and India for the first time has made it to the top 50 countries at the Global Innovation Index. The World Intellectual Property Organization said India's 4-notch jump to 48th spot in the 131 Nation Index in 2020 made it the third most innovative, lower middle income economy in the world. India also retained the highest rank in Central and Southern Asia, followed by the sports, government online services, graduates in science and engineering, and R&D intensive global companies. thanks to universities such as the IIT in Bombay and Delhi and the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru and its top scientific publications, India is the lower middle income economy with the highest innovation quality. And expressing happiness over the news, the Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar in a tweet has said, I quote, under the leadership of visionary Prime Minister Modi ji, the new India is becoming innovative India. Happy to know that India ranks in top 50 for the first time in the Global Innovation Index released by the WIPO from 81 in 2015 to 48 in 2020. And moving on now to updates on the COVID-19 pandemic, India continues to do well in tackling COVID-19 pandemic, and the latest achievement is the lowest case fatality rate of 1.76%, which is much lesser than the global average of 3.3%. India has the lowest death rate per million population in the world. The global average is 110, while in India it is 48. In Brazil, this figure is 12 times, while in Britain it is 13 times. The recovery rate has also improved to 76.9%. There are currently 1,578 COVID-dedicated hospitals across the country. 12 states and union territories have higher recovery rates than the national average. More than 60,000 people are recovering every day in the country, and so far 29,01,908 people have recovered. A total of 62,026 people have recovered in the last 24 hours. The number of recovered patients exceed the active cases by a huge margin of 21 lakh. And in another development, 11 teams of Indian and US scientists will soon start jointly scouting for out-of-the-box solutions ranging from the novel early diagnostic tests, the antiviral therapy, the drug repurposing, ventilator research, disinfection machines, and sensor-based symptom tracking for COVID-19. Now, India's highest-ranked men's singles tennis player Sumit Nagal will face the world number 3 Dominic Thiem in the second round today. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.